we go. Got a chat popped out. Beautiful. We're up and running. Hopefully get that screenshot from Dave in a second as well so we can see gameplay. Tom, we should both be live now as well, so it should be all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Alright, so we've got Sweaty Alien, Mr. Avon, DRS.
I'm just gonna check the
Or in
volume
the
level
lobby?
for us on the stream.
Yeah, no worries. Just make sure that the voice sounds right. I'm on a different headset to the previous two nights, so if I am quiet, it is worth saying or checking. So it appears we're just waiting on Nerys
I'm
and...
quite quiet.
I'm quiet?
No, I am.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
mind just being a little quiet for a sec? Yeah, I am. I'm quite quiet. You're fine. Let me bump my volume up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might just be something you can change in Discord, make it so it picks you up a little bit better. The in-game stuff should be
Good.
turned down in terms of the overall audio from Cold War, so it shouldn't be too bad.
How's this?
Oh, we'll wait and see when the stream catches up in a second. There's Nerys.
I mean, it's not like I'm being quiet. It's just, again, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what to do about it particularly. Not my area of expertise. Alright, so while waiting for all of us to join, just so that we can go over where we're at in the tournament. So this is Grand Finals. Obviously, with this being a double elimination bracket, we are looking at a losers and a winners finalist in this Grand Final. This does mean that for the Dragons, Dave's team, if they win one series, one best of 5, it's over. It's over and done with. Pack it up and go home. But on the flip side of things for the Foxes, they need to win 2, given that they already lost the series earlier in the tournament. So we will have 2 best of 5s potentially with 2 different map sets. Hopefully coming up, because it'd be a bit more interesting if things can go a bit further. But obviously,
Yeah,
all
I mean,
take what we can get.
yeah, I mean, the way the Foxes were playing the other day, I mean, they've definitely got that potential to push it to that second series. But again, it all depends on who shows up on the day.
Yeah, of course. And, Call of Duty being as inconsistent as it is, you really never know who's actually going to turn up. I think the first series that we had between the two of them can largely just be not quite written off, but I think we can consider it an anomaly just off the back of the fact that realistically, it wasn't under the best conditions, I think is the best way of putting it. So, saying who's necessarily going to come in, who's going to win based upon that might not be a fair conversation. But again, based off yesterday's series, the Foxes were looking really hot. So you'd like to think they'd potentially come in with the same kind of momentum.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's I think Ollie's been trying to put in that practice. So I definitely feel like he's gonna come out and be a threat here for the Dragons. But then obviously we have the Dragons who seem to be on a good streak as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, going undefeated the whole time, it does do a lot for your confidence and for your ego. So puts them in a pretty good position, all things considered.
But the whole pride can take you down quite quickly as well.
Oh yeah, if you're not paying attention, you're not taking your opposition seriously, then yeah, it can be your downfall. It's been the downfall of many teams. Won't be the first time anybody's underestimated people, so would not be surprised to see it happen again. Now, just while we're waiting for all of us to join, go over the actual maps and modes for the series. We will be starting off, as you can see on the screen, on a checkmate hardpoint. Moving on to a raid search and destroy. We'll be revisiting garrison control from yesterday, Moscow hardpoint on a 4th, and Miami search and destroy as a 5th if we get that far in the first place. Still waiting on Oliver to join the lobby at the moment, as mentioned previously. Also need to get 1 or 2 technical things sorted out with Dave, just so we can have a screen share open to actually cast from. does help if we can see the gameplay.
Also, I think Dave might need to turn me up on his end just so I'm a bit louder because I do think you're louder than me.
Yeah.
Really?
While you're here, Dave, screen share? No? Okay.
Yeah, we need a
Maybe he's
screen
sorting it
share.
out. There he goes. Beautiful. Lovely. Right. And there's the bracket as well. And the maps and motors we were just talking about. So, yeah, I mean, should be an interesting series. Raid Search and Destroy was quite fun and entertaining yesterday. Garrison Control. I mean, the example we got shown from the Foxes versus the Gators was fantastic. There was a lot of action going on there. I imagine it might be a bit more of a tactical lobby. It might not be as much of a bloodbath. But obviously we'll have to see when we get there.
Well, again, yeah, with the way the Gators are, it was just one of those things where they were definitely on more on the offensive, should we say?
Yeah, of course. Gators needed to get up in the face of the Foxes to make that series, or at least that map, close. I don't think it was one of those ones where they could afford to sit back. It was when, when the Foxes really started putting them back into the rear end of the cap zones as such, when they're really fighting from the spawn, is when the Gators really started to struggle. If the Gators had the map positioning, not a problem for them. They could cope with it just fine. But yeah, the aggression for them really helped yesterday. So hopefully the Foxes have potentially learned from that. They might be ready to formulate pushes a bit better, maybe play a little bit slower, get that break nice, clean, and early. Because if they can get in, they can usually stay in by the looks of it. Just a confirmation as well. Oliver is just restarting his internet, and then he will be joining the lobby. He's just going to give it a little wiggle just to make sure it's in as good position as it could be. This here on screen right now is the second set of maps of the day. Like I said, obviously with the double bracket, we will have the reset if the Foxes win the first series, meaning that we would then go on to the second best of 5. We'll have a third rematch of the Checkmate Hardpoint. So by that point, I imagine the two teams will be incredibly familiar with each other. First appearance of Standoff Search and Destroy. A little disappointed that maybe hasn't showed up sooner because it's, a pretty unique map. It's not something we've played too much of in Cold War. It's not like it's been here the whole time. And then 3 of the maps that we're incredibly familiar with later on in the series. Should be good to go in a minute. Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to with the maps, Tom?
Well, I definitely feel like it's one of those things where we've just gotta. It's hard to call. It's very very hard to call. I just like to
Hmm.
see where obviously the Foxes can play up against the Dragons, knowing that the
Yeah.
Dragons have been on such a good tear at the moment. I
Yeah, I was
can't
going to
turn
say
up my
the
mic.
streak. Pardon?
I can't turn up my mic. My mic is quite low.
Is it bad to the point where you really can't be heard, or?
I mean, you're looking at the stream, aren't you?
Yeah.
You can see if you look at the noise levels, mine's much
Yeah.
lower
Oh,
than
yeah.
yours.
No, I see what you're looking at now. Yeah. Every time I speak, it goes just into the yellow area, and you're mid greens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to do to fix it particularly.
All my settings are max.
We
The only
will
thing I
just
do is
have to go with it.
scream. I can scream,
I mean, you could. I'm
but
gonna
my
say you
window is
shouldn't.
open and my family are downstairs.
Just ask your family to come on the cast with us. We can have a party.
Oh my god, no.
Introduce your mother to Call of Duty. She could join the tournament next year. It'd be great. That could be that could be your
No.
3 team. You can have your dad, you can have your mum, and yourself. You can be the 5th team in the tournament.
And that's what you
Bosh.
call a talked tournament, ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen.
yeah, potentially a little bit, but it would be entertaining. Do apologise about the further delay stream. We'll have Oliver with us momentarily, and then we'll get cracking. Does give people maybe a last minute chance to look at classes, maybe make some adjustments from yesterday. QBZ did make a couple of appearances. I have a feeling it might appear again from the Foxes. Um, Normally the QBZ is GA'd, uh, given that it's quite a good alternative to the XM4, which is also GA'd. However, there are a couple series throughout the week where maybe people decided not to use it as a goodwill thing. Given the way the M4 was in the first series between these two teams, I'm not sure the Foxes care, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
That was incredibly loud. My God. Whoa.
I literally just turned off my headset and turned it back on, and it seems to have fixed itself.
Yeah, you speak again so we can see on OBS.
Hello.
Oh boy. Okay, yeah, I'm going to turn you down. You turn up on Discord. Wow, I am deaf. I won't be able to hear any gameplay. This is
Yes. Sorry about
dogs.
that.
That's all right. As long as you're loud, stream can hear you now. That's the main thing.
It just means I can mumble now and it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Deadpan.
yeah. So they're going to be
I'll
pushing the
turn down my
hill.
I'll turn down my input.
Oliver gets the trade on Dave, and that got him some streaks. Yeah,
This
but
okay?
please don't be deadpan.
Is this okay?
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Alright. Yeah, I just bumped it down by 20%, so this should be fine.
Cool, cool. As you saw on the stream just then, Pope Brochacho just came online. That's Mr. Owa, also known
Mr.
as
Owo
Oliver.
himself.
Yeah, which means he is logging into the game right now, so we really should be going live in the next minute or two off with the first map. Now, given, again, broken record, this has been said multiple times, but given the situation with the stream, Dave is in this lobby, which does mean that we will be locked to one perspective throughout the two matches, or one and potentially second match today. This said, I will try to tap into game and check stats, try and keep an eye on whether there's any streaks formulating on either team. So I will try and keep people updated if possible for that kind of thing as and when.
Yeah, it's obviously, again, with something like this, obviously, is a little bit of a problem, but I mean, you just have to work with what we got.
Yeah, well, we did consider maybe setting up so that I could actually stream it myself, but if I put a wire down, the cats will eat it, and then nobody gets to stream, and I lose my LAN cable. Not really. It's not really something we want to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
The three of them, they would go mental. They'd love it. It'd be very funny, but I don't want to buy a new one. Ooh. Any minute now. Any minute now.
So, well, man, it's very slow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he decided he was going to go do a game of League to warm up just before things were confirmed ready to go. Tom, can you go get DRS? Double check that his team are ready. I will go speak to the Foxes. And once we get that confirmation, we will go live.
Dave is ready.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Dragon's hot and ready to go. Just waiting on the Foxes. Oliver's online, so I imagine he's just either getting himself into a voice chat or confirming streaks with the other two. Not streaks, classes.
Talking that early game strategy.
Yeah, it might be just having a little bit of a natter, getting reacquainted, getting ready to go. That kind
This is
of deal.
Ollie we're talking about. There's definitely going to be some sort of nattering.
Oh, absolutely. He talks nearly as much crap as I do.
I'd say you're both on par.
No, I take the prize on that one. Thank you very much. Thank you, Oliver, for confirming that they are not ready.
They're not ready.
Yeah, I got a message back to say we're not ready. It's like, cool. Or you could have just not said anything until you are ready. Imagine that. Not sure what they're changing. Not sure what they're doing. Not sure what we're waiting on. Might be a little bit of a strategy they're coming out with. I imagine, and just with how some of the games looked, I imagine we're going to see a QPZ out of the Foxes. They haven't really pulled them out so far. I just feel like this is going to be the time they're going to do it. Oliver's keen for revenge, I think.
I think Ollie is definitely searching for this win. I mean, obviously, with them being at that game disadvantage, they definitely have to be seeking some sort of blood, should we say?
They need to start hot, and they need to, yeah, they need to just try and slaughter this first series as quickly as possible, just to get onto that second one while they're still fresh and warmed up and ready to go. Don't want to be
Exactly. I
tired and dealing with that then. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think their goal is to literally, they just need to shut down the dragons. Because
Mm,
the one thing is, the dragons have not lost a map. So does that mean losing a map might necessarily put them in a bit of a slump? We don't know because we haven't seen them on that back foot. So I definitely think
yeah.
if the Foxes do get this first map, I
Hmm.
think it could be a possible game changer because we could be seeing the Dragons for the first time in this tournament go on the back foot, and we don't know how they will
Yeah.
respond.
I think it is a very interesting conversation as well, because especially if they go down 0-1 in the series, um, a lot of the problems I was seeing, I say problems, obviously this is problems for a team that haven't lost, but one of the problems I was seeing is they weren't really playing together very much in the Search and Destroy the Dragons. The coordination wasn't quite there. There'd be 2v1 situations and they'd be completely split apart from each other. They got away with it because they were on a map such as Express, which
Yeah.
is a bit more chaotic. It kind of doesn't matter whether you're together or not in a way because it's chaotic. It's quite easy to get in a fight, win it, slip and slide away, and nobody knows where you've gone. Raid being the second
No, very
map,
true.
there's a lot more flanks. It's a bit more circular in terms of the way the map structure feels and the way you play that map. And I don't feel like they can get away to be, with being split up as much.
No, I think that's very true. It's again, it's like you said, I feel like their team is full of slayers, and I feel like they've got that communication down.
Hmm.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think they've really been properly tested. I mean, yeah, they faced both the Gators and the Foxes before, but with the Foxes, they faced them in their first game. So by now they could have like got that connection with their teammates together.
Hmm.
As well as with the Gators, obviously it was always going to be a bit of a downward spiral for them, knowing that two of their players didn't show up, hence why two substitutes had to come in. So I've always feel like there was a slight dysfunction when they came with the Gators.
Yeah. Just had a lot of requests. Sorry, my multitasking ability is 0. Give me 2 seconds. Got a little request from Ryan to see if he can hop in the lobby as a second podcaster so we can watch other perspectives. Just going to see if that's okay with Dave.
I don't see the reason why not.
I don't see why not either, but I just want to check.
It won't mess with connections, wouldn't it? It wouldn't do that.
It shouldn't, in theory, mess with connections. I don't know why it would, but it's not my call to make. So I'm just gonna check on that one real quick.
Brian obviously coming to root for Ollie, knowing that Ollie was the team to knock them out.
I mean, they're best buddies. Yeah,
There's
no,
also that.
yeah, no, I know buddies. Oh, best friends. It sounds a little bit sad, but they
I
are.
know.
They play a lot of rank together. They've hung out a lot. Lockdown has been trying time, and they've both cried over League play together throughout it.
Wrong.
It's a bonding moment for men.
Can you get a double check on Foxes? See if they're ready.
Yeah, they are ready. I'm just trying to see if I can
Yeah.
get a response from Dave about Ryan potentially joining. Sent him 4 messages back to back. I'm sure he loves me right now. His phone's probably buzzing. All right. I mean, Ryan, if you're in the stream, apparently you're allowed to join. You should be able to join through people that you're friends with within the lobby. Um, please
Yeah.
join up as quickly as you can. I'll
Yeah.
shimmy you over to the caster position with myself,
Yeah.
so
Both
that it
teams are
shouldn't impact
ready.
things.
Both teams are ready. Then we're just waiting on Ryan to come in.
Mm-hmm.
The problem child himself.
Yeah, just a little bit. Um,
I know it sounds weird. Is there no way someone who can like stream someone's stream of the game?
Probably, but the quality of that would literally be through the floor. It would
Yeah.
actually be abysmal. I wouldn't even want to watch that. I'd just say no at that point.
I was gonna say if you just
Um,
try and stream the game, and then obviously David could then stream your stream, and then I'll just be like, oh no, we have a call
yeah,
capture. But
not quite. It would be a bit convoluted, and it's not a grand idea. Like, yeah, hypothetically speaking, from a technological perspective, yes, it'd work, but apparently Ryan is on the way. Really do apologize for the delay. This is probably a request that should have come in maybe before we were trying to
he's in.
start the lobby.
Yeah, he's in.
Is he in? There he is. Right, we'll shimmy that man across.
I think those teams are fair, don't you think?
Ah, yeah,
4v3?
definitely. that, that would be entertaining to say the least, but definitely not fair. Alrighty, press play on that one. Hopefully everybody's all good.
Alright.
If they're not, tough. We're on the
Did you
move.
put a timer on?
There's a
Or
45-second timer on, don't worry.
good. I just
Yeah,
think
we
it's in one
should
of those
be
things where
grand.
it should just stay on, just in case. Because
Yeah,
worst case
it's not a
scenario, take
bad
a little
idea.
break. But
Yeah, I
it's
think maybe a
definitely.
45-second is potentially a little bit excessive.
I mean, it's one of those things where Nerys was struggling to spawn in last time, so I think
Mm.
you've got to have that thing. It's all
Yeah.
right, Ryan. We're here to watch
Yeah,
out for you.
just had to get a new pop out of chat because that message didn't come up for me. So yeah, sorry if I didn't reply to you sooner in the YouTube chat, mate.
Nah, it just popped up.
Oh, okay. If it just did, I realized my chat was broken. Not what you want to see,
All right.
but can he be helped?
Yep. Well, it looks like everyone's in. Obviously, we're gonna have that little wait, but I think it'll give people enough time to see their spawn, to also start planning their attack.
Yeah. So just as a little overview while we're looking at it, it's almost like I'm a genius. Can you guess what the other team are pulling out? Pretty darn sure the Foxes have a QB. Actually, wait, is that the Foxes? No. Oh, damn. Dragons are putting out QB sets.
Hardpoint identified.
I mean, that
Alright.
doesn't surprise me knowing that that's what originally they were putting out last time. So we've obviously just gotta
Yep.
expect it at this point.
Crick
Does this
from
mean we're gonna see
Nerys.
QBCs coming out for the other team? We don't
Potentially,
know.
they might respond and just be like, all right, if that's how we're playing, that's how we're playing. At the moment, the Foxes are set up with one Crick from Nerys as you'd expect, and two 47Us. On the other side of things, just to go over the whole lobby, Dave on a 47U, Craig from Mr. Sweaty Alien, and Avon on
Ollie getting a
Mr.
two-man wipe on the hill. That was quite big for his team, getting those points. Ollie also picking up the kill, wiping the team, but you can see he gets picked off there.
Yeah. One thing that's important to note at the moment is the spawns. Dave's team currently holding that. Going into P2.
Definitely looking like it's in the favor of the Dragons at the moment.
Not much scored off the first hill though, so I'm not sure they particularly care. But yeah,
Not much scored, but they've already gone that start, and look, they've already gone past the previous hill.
Yeah, and obviously with Mr. Sweaty Alien getting that kill, Avon just sitting there quietly, not really announcing their presence all too much. I don't even think that Crapman knows that they're behind. And there you go, Pinch comes in.
Oh yeah, we can see that. Obviously, Dave is just playing that back. Ooh, gets picked off by the pistol there by Ollie. Looks like we got Sweaty Alien. Seems to have a little bit of connection issues there. Saw him skipping a little bit. Don't know how that will affect the gameplay, but we'll have to wait and see.
Host is as neutral as it can be. It is also important to remember that things can look a little bit strange on the Codcaster. It's not necessarily indicative of exactly how much of lag there is going on. Good evening, by the way, Hudson. I'm looking forward to this series all day. Understandably, cheering for the Dragons. Excuse me if I'm potentially biased towards the Foxes. Definitely for legitimate reasons.
Personal reasons.
Yeah, it's I'll be honest. If you ask me to pick who's going to win this series from big brain perspective, I would call the Dragons. It just seems more likely, but I would like the Foxes to at least extend the evening.
Yeah, you can't cancel out the Foxes. I mean, they've definitely got the forces in play to put in a good performance at least.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
And
again,
they're keeping it close. I think the problem that we saw the first time around on this map was throughout the first 3 to 4 hills at the first rotation, it was a close score. It maintained the close score. The only difference really being about a 15 or 20 point lead in favor of the Dragons. The issue is that lead never disappeared. Towards the end of the map, it grew, pushed it out a bit more to a 250, 230, 210, I believe, somewhere more in that kind of ballpark. But for the most part, once that lead got there, they really struggled to get it back. Largely because of how competitive each hill was. People just not really managing to, steal massive chunks of time away from each other until it didn't matter.
Hardpoint locked down. Yeah, we're seeing that obviously they've got some good hold on them at the moment, but obviously it's just broken. But again, they've got that good advantage points wise.
They got that good.
They got that good, man. Very good.
And if they hold the rest of the scrap, it'll basically be a tie game, but they are still looking to contest it. And this is one thing I was thinking about before the series went live. Maybe a potential improvement point for the Foxes. A lot of the play that we're seeing for them throughout the tournament, Oliver is being that guy to, look towards the next hardpoint hill. He's always looking towards the next spawn. He's looking towards how am I going to make this series go in our favor in the long run. And largely because of the fact that it's 3v3, I feel like leaving his teammates to guard the scrap in a 2v3 essentially has consistently been lost. And then the issue is because that's consistently been lost, those players are then running to him on the new hill to fight him in a 2v1, and then he's losing that as well. And I think, this partially comes down to the fact that it's 3v3, and it partially comes down to the fact that, I think the Foxes aren't quite playing strategically together as well as they could have done. So good maybe improvement point might be out them is to start maybe just worry about the hill attack, worry about the next hill when it happens, because people going for these early spawns are broken so often because it's so easy to slip the net in 3v3s. It's so easy to get behind people when they're setting up new spawns because you can't watch every angle.
No, I think that's very true. I mean, again, while you were talking, we've seen quite good play there from the Foxes again, managing to get over into the 100 club before, but obviously towards the end of the hill we were seeing more of a Dragons push coming back to fruition. And again, we're seeing a bit of a hold here that, they're getting picked off. That could leave the situation a bit open.
Yeah, and I have to think that, obviously it's a little bit difficult when I'm not really looking at all the perspectives, but I would not be surprised to find out that the reasoning that the Dragons were able to come to that hill towards the end, despite a good start from the Foxes, probably due to the fact that Oliver, rightfully so in many cases, is on the other end of the map trying to secure the good spawns going into the new rotation. It's the right thing to do in the long run, but I just don't think it works for them in 3v3. I just think they need to play for the here and now.
No, I think that's right. I mean, you should definitely need to get those spawns. Spawns are crucial, especially in a game like Hardpoint. You've got to have the spawns, but you've got to try and get the right people on the hill at the right time. I mean, again, Ollie, he's like a wrecking ball. You've got to put him in the right place, and he can.
Are you calling him fat?
Many. Oh, I mean, I haven't seen him in a while. He's been doing a little tugging nowadays. We've lost to Hardpoint. But again, you put him in the right situation, he can knock down many walls. He's very.
He is a playmaker.
Yeah, he's that big player that just can definitely open up big situations.
And Dave's team right now at the moment are kind of making an example of why I said not to worry about rotations for the wrong reasons. What I'm getting at here is just seeing them flooding through that crate, and they're going through that, I don't know what you call it, the plane part, right? I don't think I've seen anybody go fully around the right side of the map and really try to go behind them and break that spawn.
Contesting hard point.
But the thing is because it's 3v3, okay, we have the benefit of extra information, and we're obviously not playing and thinking about it, but nobody's been watching that from the Foxes the entire time. And the Dragons never exploited it. They just kept headbutting the front. And this is why I don't think you have to worry about rotations as much, because in theory, if you make that heads-up play at the time, there's no reason you can't just slip the net and stab them in the back. You should be able to do that, and you should be able to do that consistently, because the only map you can't do that on is Apocalypse. And
Hardpoint locked down.
if I remember right, we don't even see that this evening.
I'm not too sure for you. We do not see Apocalypse at all, even in the second series.
Yeah, so
We've
start
lost the
flanking.
hardpoint.
Forget about spawns, let them get the initial 10-20, because if you're going to get that scrap 10-20 that formerly you would have given up, formerly, I can words.
Hardpoint
You know,
identified.
if you yeah,
Hostile
formal, is he in the
attacking
lobby?
hardpoint.
You know, if you would have given up that 10-20 seconds previously, it's really important to maybe think, okay, well, we're going to hold that, sacrifice a bit on the new hill, but get a good setup going so we can break as a 3-man team, or 2-man.
No, I think that's exactly it. The one thing I have noticed though is Ollie. I mean, Ollie seems to be having Dave's number recently. Obviously, it's big trade. Those two being big names. But definitely got to say that Ollie has definitely got his number at the moment.
Really great double that crab man there. Really ashamed to see Nerys sticking him in the corner with that grenade there.
Yeah, that just seemed like a direct attack, but you know, we move.
She gets a kill back on Dave's team, so it's not the end of the world. The trades are there, and then Oliver gets a further double to steal the
Ollie
scrap on his hill.
also pulling out the QBZ, just to note.
Yeah, I mean,
a game that he originally said to the Gators prior that they wanted to gentlemen's agreement it, but I'm guessing the fact that you've seen Sweaty Alien using it.
Here's something to point out. Something to point out to you. He's not pulled it out. He's picked it up off the floor. He's picked it up off the floor. He's had enough. He's not dealing with that. He's like, right, I'm going to kill you when you're using that thing. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to shoot back.
I mean,
Return
again,
to sender.
it's a big gun. It's one of those guns that is considered again a game changer, and in the right hands, obviously.
Yeah, no, Codcaster is telling me that he is actually just using the 47U still, so yeah. That's a retaliation.
Looking at the points, 7 points needed. All Foxes need to do is just get to that new point, just hold it. It's just
but at the moment they're being trapped in the back, that's the problem. Now there might be a bit of a spawn up potentially. You know the way 3v3s are. That said, they're on the scrap, so they're going to get themselves even closer. But at the moment, you know, the Dragons do have the good spawn. Foxes obviously can very much easily contest this. You know, they could win it here very easily.
Definitely got one side of the plane to the other. This is very much close.
Yeah, there's not really a fight going on for spawns right now. The Foxes are trying to end it here if they can.
Cleared out 2 big men there, and it's a team wipe on the hill, which is definitely going to give them a fair amount of time on this. Oh, but they got quick. They got back real quick.
But so yeah, 30 seconds left on this hill. From the Dragons, are you trying to hold this down for every point you can get, or are you just going to contest it? That's it. It's over. That's the break. One break they needed out in a race. Brilliant double from her at the end.
That is the first time the Dragons have dropped a map in this tournament. Which again, we're going back to the situation, you know, when they say they got that, like, if they go that one map down, how is it going to change the way they play? Because they haven't been on the back foot.
You see from Dave scrolling through the lobby there at the end, score and damage out of follower, absolutely stellar. 5.4k score, 4.8k damage leading in the lobby. Other people not particularly far behind him. It's not like he, you know, demolished the lobby, but he was leading the pack.
Yeah. No, it's like I heard you were about to say. You know, I feel like Dragon's wings got a bit clipped there in this game.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think, you know, it was a competitive game, but I don't think maybe they expected that much bite. Owo has left the party.
Oh, do you want to try and get a?
Yeah, I will pop him a message in a second. Just going to make sure the lobby's set up and ready to go first. Obviously, we're moving over to a raid, search and destroy. Obviously, you know, assuming we can actually get Oliver back into the lobby promptly.
Got QBZ classes being made here.
Yeah, I mean, probably had enough, you know. The thing is that Oliver running around with someone else's QBZ, I wouldn't be surprised if whatchamacallit, they don't know that it wasn't his. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you saw Ollie running around with that QBZ so much to the point where you'd think, did he even die? Obviously, he did die, but he must have been playing well if he was
He held it
getting
for a
those
while.
guns.
You know,
He was
he was
holding
running
on to
around
that
with it
gun.
for a good period of time.
I think we're seeing a pretty peaked up version of Ollie tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wants to win. I don't think he's won one of these tournaments prior, so obviously, it'd be nice to get himself on the board in that regard. But also, again, he does just want his revenge from that first series.
No,
You know, I
I
think
definitely feel like he's out for blood.
we're
He's
putting
he's
words in their
definitely.
mouths a bit. I don't think it's that dramatic, but yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Ollie's quite a dramatic person. I think we could be seeing a out for blood situation.
I have just sent a message just to ask if there was a Wi-Fi reset or what the situation is.
Okay.
He might just be resetting Wi-Fi between maps just to make sure that he can have, the best opportunity possible. But we'll have to find out. Can you, if you don't mind, Thomas, get in touch with, the
Right.
Dragons? Just make sure that they're good to go as and when Oliver is.
I just said ready are you? I'm turning into Yoda. Um just said, ready are you?
You should cast around like that. I'll just stay silent.
No.
Do your best. Do your best.
No.
I'll
No.
buy you a 4-pack of Snickers. Didn't help with Alien's connection issues. Was he having a couple of difficulties there, Hudson?
Um he said
Yeah,
Ollie isn't here, yes though. So they are ready.
yeah, so the Dragons are ready. I'll get confirmation from the Foxes when they're ready. I am obviously with direct communication with their team. Yeah, Hudson, it's a rough situation with online Call of Duty. You know, it's not the best at any given moment in time, but we've got to make do with what we have. Maybe we can do a big land party one day. Wouldn't that be fun? When I'm a billionaire.
Ooh.
No,
I was
when,
gonna
not
say,
if.
I was gonna say it's Ollie's. I feel like Ollie's gonna be the billionaire in your own family, isn't it?
How dare you?
You're the housewife, aren't you?
You got no faith in me.
You're the housewife, though, aren't you?
Excuse me. To be fair, he is absolutely hopeless without someone with a bit more common sense in the house.
That's what I mean. You're the housewife. You
I
bring in
don't
the
want
money.
that title, thank you very much. Fuck off with that.
Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Oh,
I'd love to
whatever.
be a housewife. Sit around,
I
do
mean,
nothing.
yeah,
Getting that
you don't.
dough.
That's exactly why you shouldn't be one, because that's not what you do.
Well, I know I obviously got to tidy up the house and stuff. Yeah, that's my job. My job would be the housewife.
How did we get onto this? Have we seen Raid Search and Destroy yet? We've seen one, right? Because it was the
We
one yesterday
have.
between the Gators and the Foxes. I know that
Yes.
much.
Yes.
Have we seen it at all prior to that?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure yesterday was the only time.
Feel like it might be the case, but my memory sucks.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, we've got a. Actually, I'm looking at the maps real quick. So yeah, we got a raid S&D now. We then got a garrison control after this, which again, a garrison control was pretty big, and we've seen the way that the Foxes played a garrison control yesterday, and you gotta say they're dangerous.
Yeah, and not only that, but the Dragons would have been able to watch that series.
Say that again.
Dragons would have been able to watch that series,
Yeah,
They
I mean,
might have a couple ideas of, where people particularly like to play, how they like to have their 3v3 set up, across the map.
as someone who was playing for the Gators in that match, I have to say that they were dangerous. I mean, it was difficult. It was very difficult to fight back against them. So I definitely think that the Dragons have a very, very difficult time once it gets to the garrison control.
It
But
was
obviously,
noticeable that once the Foxes got in your face, there wasn't really all that much you could do to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, it
It
was
was
one of
a
those things.
miracle performance from Ryan that map was won in the first place. No offense to yourself and Danny.
Well, no, that I mean, none taken. I am a commentator, after all. But I mean, he again. I think Ryan went like, was it 69?
Officially, his
69 and
elims was
29.
69, 70,
Yeah,
something of that ballpark, and his actual kills was 50 plus. You know,
but even then, that's
it's
it's
something like his
ridiculous,
actual
ridiculous numbers.
engagements as well was something like, obviously including deaths, he had about 80, 90 engagements across the map throughout that
Yeah,
5 round series, series map.
yeah.
It's a lot to be getting involved with in a 3v3.
The only thing I'm gonna have to say is obviously we're in the finals now and much can change. But I have to say that my personal, again, this isn't biased or anything, but I have to say that Ryan must be MVP of this tournament. The numbers he's putting up and the way he's playing, I
Hmm.
can't see anyone else topping it.
I wouldn't mind seeing the collated stats once everything's said and done and Dave's had time to pull that all together. But I find it hard at this point in time saying it should be anybody else.
It's
Um,
just again,
you know,
it's like every game he was borderline going double positive.
hmm,
Obviously his S&Ds weren't as strong, but he was definitely still pulling up numbers.
yeah, of course.
So I definitely have to say that he's at least top contender right now going into
Oh
these
yeah,
two
for sure,
finals,
for sure. There's no
one
question
or
on
two
that.
finals.
I think it
And
just
again,
depends on whether Dave's going with the strict rule of MVP being a finalist in the first place. Depends how he's working the format.
I think it all depends on performance because I'd have to say that if again, no offense to anyone, if it gets to the point where let's say Dragons win, so Dragons win. It's at that point now you're thinking, okay, well, if you're going off the winner getting MVP, then I'm guessing it's going to have to be Dave. But I don't think. I think if you're comparing Dave and Ryan, I think Ryan has definitely been putting more of a
Yeah,
shift in.
for sure.
So that's the thing. I think it's very much stat dependent. I think you've got to think who has been that big time player because at the end of the day, it's the most valuable player. Who has been the most
Yeah.
valuable
Who's
player?
put the most forth to the team? And ultimately, there's entire maps that wouldn't have been won if Ryan hadn't gone off.
No, that's exactly it. I mean,
You can't make any conversation around that. I don't think anybody else has said, people have had good performances, but I don't think there's any maps so far where I've really looked at them. Maybe the Miami search from Nerys. Um, but outside of
yes,
maybe that one, there's no other maps that have really been like, okay, that team would not have won if they hadn't gone off.
yeah. I mean, again, it's like that game for Nerys was a very, very good game, and you have to give all the props where you can.
Hmm.
I definitely think, obviously, Ollie is a top contender for that
Yeah,
MVP because he's putting up the numbers, and you can tell that he's being that in-game leader when it comes to this team because there's definitely been some good tactical coordinations. Cradman, a big surprise, you got to say, in the first game they had against the Dragons, I don't feel like he was as present, but the past couple games that they've been playing, he has definitely been a presence, and I
he's
definitely
warmed
have
up
to.
into it as the
Oh, he's
weekend's gone by.
definitely warmed up into it. You've got to give props where props are due. Um,
Oliver
so
chucked him in the microwave, set him on high.
yeah,
He's come out hot,
that Crabman came out real hot.
hot
But
like that
no,
mac and cheese I ate earlier today.
I think at the
Banging
moment
Saturday.
I've got four MVPs or four possibles.
Mm.
So you've got Ollie in. So do you want
Hmm.
to check to see if they're ready? But yeah, my four MVPs have to be Hoff, OO, Cradman, and DRS. Because again, those four have definitely been those outstanding players.
Mm.
But you just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
we're getting right into this.
Well, I mean, they confirmed they're ready pretty quickly, so
Yeah,
you know
okay.
what? We off. If the dragons somehow aren't ready after that kind of wait, um,
Um,
yeah,
they were ready a while ago, so I'm
yeah, well,
sure they'll be
they
fine.
better should have been.
They better should have been.
Yeah, that England's.
Says the Englishman.
I mean, I'm not entirely English, thank you very much.
Where you from?
Partially Welsh.
Oh,
Oh, you've never asked.
I mean, you just never sound like it.
Oh, no,
He's got a.
I lived in
Look at that dragon right there on that gun.
lived in Cornwall the whole time. Funky accent.
Yeah, exactly. Englishman.
Yeah, just like to quickly go over classes. 2 Krigs from Crabman and Reese, 47U from Oliver, and then it appears to be 2 Krigs and a KBZ. QB's dead. I'm sure you can guess who's dead.
Yes, I think we've got a sweaty alien on that, or is it an Avon?
Oh, it's Sweaty Alien again. He's back on it. I think he's taken a liking to it. Lovely opening pick there from Oliver.
Oh yeah, we got a pick there. Oh,
Got information that Dave's in the mid as well.
Control. Sorry, bad commentator. I thought this was control. But no, we seem to.
We're not
have
that far
bomb
into the series yet. Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Bomb
no.
down in a 3v2, so you know they'll be able to set up a nice, good post planet, probably straight into the spawn tree. And brilliant kill from Nerys.
This is very big. Big here from the Foxes. It's a 1v3. Oh, and it's
Yeah, the thing is, even if he didn't get shots on there, he's been spotted.
Yeah, and I mean
Like,
there was another person right there with the white van. It was definitely a trade situation if it wasn't to happen.
That's
Again.
no, actually ignore me. I was about to ask if that was an ace, but we literally saw Nerys get the kill.
Yeah, Nerys did kill
Ignore me.
Yeah, Nerys did kill DRS, which means Ollie did get the 2, which is again
Funny
very,
like
very
to see
good.
that. Good job, Nerys. Let's kill Dave more often. It's funny.
It is very funny.
If you're gonna kill anyone,
everyone,
make it him. Trophies available. Nice
potential
position to be in when
pick
you're
in
going on to the
Laundry,
offense.
Laundry seems to have backed out there. But we've got a 3-man A, which means you've got to have that comms going on for Foxes, being like, oh well, they're on A.
Just for information's sake, 2 members of the Foxes are pushing out from Laundry side. One of them's peeking onto A right now. One of them's back in spawn. Crabman himself is mid-map right now. So
Okay,
not really any contest on this plan. It's going to go down pretty cleanly. And
David seems to have butterfingers right now, not being able to plan.
and it still doesn't matter. They've still not pushed.
Yeah.
You know, Oliver's only just
Crabman has
seen
been
the
spotted in
person.
the mid. Yeah, Crabman's been spotted in the mid.
Oliver's
And
seen the person Laundry as well, which is why they've backed off.
Yeah, definitely saw a popper from that Laundry side, so I'm guessing that Ollie was definitely in the position. Crabman being annoying, very annoying.
It's good of him to stay alive this long, where he's been jiggling and taking these fights back and forth, but they need a pick and they need it now if they're going to collapse on
but
this
that's
site.
the problem. You've got 3 people set up. There's not much you can do. Ooh, 2 picks
There's no
though.
time. There's just no time.
Oh!
I know it's gone. Yeah.
Oh, unlucky there. That was
He's delayed enough, but here's something that is important to consider. He stays alive and gets that kill, and that means we can start potentially having the conversation of streaks with Oliver on a 4.
well, yeah. He's got those. He's got 4, and isn't it a 7?
4 and a bomb plan. Keep in mind. So if it's score based, I can't remember if it's score based or if it's because it is CDL rather than CDL Pro.
Yeah, it's score streaks. So yeah, I mean, very unlucky for them. I feel like they just took it a bit too slow. And
Yeah,
I feel
they
like
were clearing their corners and they were making the right plays, but yeah, it just wasn't quick enough.
No, you have to give respect. Obviously, they're both sides. Dragons obviously holding down that fort real well, and obviously Foxes being good enough to break that fort, but just a bit too.
So far, 1 for 1 on offensive wins.
Yeah. Well,
See if that's something that continues.
Yeah. Oh. Crabman getting
rough.
shot in the back there. That's very rough. Reese also getting picked up.
Playing the same position, not really something that you should be doing multiple rounds back to back. You're going to get caught out if you do that one.
Ollie pick on the 3v1 right now. Oh, and he gets shot. Oh, he didn't finish his kill though. Oh.
Ace for Dave though. Gets the 3, shuts down the streets, and maybe he can, you know, Give it a round or so, and we can maybe have that conversation for Dave himself.
That would have haunted Dave if he got turned on there by
I mean, even if it didn't end up in a round win, it would have been embarrassing.
I think a kill like that's demoralizing. I know for a fact I would be in a mood if that happened to me.
But when it's served to you on a silver platter like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all you had to do was just keep prolonged shots. You didn't even need to stop.
Bomb acquired.
It looks like the bomb and everyone is going towards B, so it seems like it's going to be a heavy B push. If they do it aggressively is a different story. The fact that bomb has gone into the water definitely means that there's going to be aggressive tones to it.
One player top money at the moment. They're going to know that they've been peeking towards mid steps off the back of that, given that there's many other places to go for. Reese getting picked off a distance, but Oliver with the trade on that grenade onto Avon.
And bomb is in the middle of water, which means someone needs to get out in the open to grab it.
Yeah,
so that could be a potential pick.
It's difficult to pick that up, I'm pretty sure, without giving away a distinct audio cue as well.
Dave went for the shot to try and get that trophy, but he also didn't take out the trophy and let him know where his position is. So you can definitely tell that.
I am pretty darn sure from money you should have been able to hear Dave going for the cannonball just there.
Ooh, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I'm not 100% sure, but again...
Feels like more of a world kind of noise rather than footsteps, so I don't know, I just... Ooh, and he doesn't get away. Really important pick.
That's a big pick.
But this is the position you want to be in. This is where you want to be in a situation like this. Craig, top bedroom, bomb planted in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not in the... Ooh! Big beams there from Sweaty Alien. Definitely big moves.
You can know that Dave's going to be getting loud after that one.
Yes.
Probably a bit of shouting going on.
He absolutely beamed Ollie there. There was no way he was winning that gunfight if...
Again, it's a Craig versus a 47U. Oliver did a great job of picking off Dave at that range, but to do it twice against a Craig that's already in the bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Dave was he was just out in the open and he seemed to struggle with the mantle trying to get into the window. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't good for him. But, again, Sweaty Alien putting out a big move there and managing to actually get the kills. Sweaty Alien getting the pick on Nerys pretty early. This could be a big game changer for this round. Got two people flanking A.
It does, in the opening 4 rounds we've had so far, feel a little bit like the Foxes have been struggling here. They've been getting kills. It's not like they haven't gained kills, it's just they're not getting much out of them.
I think the main problem is positioning, to be honest with you. I just feel like they got those kills and they got that killer instinct. It's just they're never in the good positions. It's like Ollie.
Yeah, there's no map control off the back of them. They don't clear their information off the back of knowing those kills.
Ollie and Crowdman getting killed off there by Dave. Big plays there from Dave. We're going to be seeing that Foxes. They need to get that positioning right. I respect the fact that Crowd tried to go for the aggressive push, but I don't know if that's the call there.
Well, I mean, the problem as well is just that, you know, even if you don't make the call, and let's say he sits in that corner quietly, Oliver's planting the bomb.
Bomb acquired.
Crowd's going to be nearby. You're going to make that assumption. Anybody's going to make that assumption any day of the week. So it's a difficult position to be in, no matter what. Maybe you would like Crabman to already be down on the floor, maybe a bit closer to be more of a bodyguard. But yeah, hindsight's 20/20.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, we're talking from like a spectator view. We don't know what's happening in the game. Obviously, emotions are high. We don't exactly get the full essence of how people are going to play because we have that clouded vision. So bomb is planted from glass, which means this is definitely a good hold. They just need to possibly have someone either come up on the flank or just to beam them off the top.
You've seen him, Tiki. Oh, her actually, it's Nerys.
No, Nerys died? No.
That wasn't a race.
You performed as expected, crew.
This is
Prepare to
slightly a
redeploy.
massacre here. 5-1, and could we be seeing a reverse sweep? I don't know. I definitely feel like this is definitely more of a done deal.
I think it's only a
Switching
matter of
rally
time
points.
before the Dragons get another round. It's a conversation we can have maybe when we start seeing 5-3, 5-4, But as of right now, I don't see it happening. It just doesn't feel
Defend
like
the
there's much
objectives.
confidence coming out of the Foxes in any of the pushes they're making.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the Foxes are more respawn heavy teams, I think that it's one of those things where if you put them in a respawn, they can get those kills in those very good situations. But in terms of S&D, I think it's just a little bit more methodical, and I don't feel like that is the sort of presence that the Foxes give off.
Every defense, it's felt like Dave's been allowed to poke and prod in this area of the map.
The
Dave
capitalists
getting
will
the
remember
poses it
this.
out.
Yeah,
It felt like the Foxes just weren't
dust
really
off and
getting those kind of
redeployment.
flanks going. They weren't really getting as much mid-aggression or mid-control when they were on defense. It felt very much like the Dragons were dictating the pace of the map. They were dictating where they were playing, and they were taking the gunfights they wanted to take.
No, very true.
Big
Yeah,
performance out of Dave. Obviously, it's not like everybody was really putting up numbers, but all the same, if one person's doing it and they're leading the charge, it works for the whole team.
Yeah, again, Fox's performance was very average. I mean, they would get those kills, but again, it's just trying to get it in. It's just trying to get those situations where they can actually hold down a position or take someone out of a position. Just seems to be a little bit of struggle in that S&D situation.
Now we'll be moving over to a garrison control in a second. Just going to make sure the timer has actually remained on.
It looks like Ryan has taken up the mantle of MVP, seeing as the contact is up there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get the caster MVP award. I think it's fair enough to say that, but I'm not committing to anything until I've seen stats. I'd be, is he resetting his internet again?
I think it's the case because obviously Ollie's family is doing a lot of streaming and stuff, which means his connection is a bit off at times. So maybe he's just resetting every time just so he's getting that reset for when he plays, A bit like what Ryan was doing. Every game he was basically resetting his internet to get that game going.
Just waiting for confirmation from Oliver to see exactly what's up. I imagine it probably is the case that he's just doing a quick reset, but we'll need to get the word from him. Garrison control. Haven't actually seen much of this throughout the evening.
No, that was only the one game yesterday.
Weekend, not evening. Yeah, and it was a long 5-round match. It really could have gone either way at multiple points.
It was an intense game. It was very much back and forward, but again, there was some strongholds from both teams, and I feel like it was very close until that very last game or that last round where I'm pretty sure Foxes took.
Yeah, they well, no. The last round went towards the Gators. It pushed it to a 3-1. Yeah, because that's where the Moscow came in. Just asking for confirmation, by the way, from Foxes if they're ready. If you could do the same for the Dragons again, that'd be grand.
I am.
Just seeing as we've got everybody back in the lobby, seemingly ready to go, but got to make sure first. Don't want to screw anyone over.
Seeing if the message is being received. Taking a while from the man hosting the tournament himself. I do have a feeling that they would be ready, but you never know.
I think the issue is he's signed into an alternate Discord account so he can be on a Discord call with his teammates while still being able to have a setup in his private chat for the whole stream side of things.
There is that.
So, you know, he might not be getting the notifications maybe as quickly as we'd like him to be. What's going on?
No, Ollie sent me a message saying Fall Guys. I was like, "What? You're playing?" He's like, "I know, but like, oh okay." I thought he just left. You know what? Done. Yeah, Dave's ready, by the way, so tournament can be started.
Assuming I get confirmation from the Foxes, I'm still waiting on that one.
Yeah, apparently, Ollie's internet has been bad at the moment, which isn't good to hear, especially from the main Slayer, if you like to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair enough to give him that title. Would be anything wrong to say anything otherwise.
Apparently they aren't ready.
Yeah, no, I've got a chat open with him at the moment. I'm not going to start anything until I get a confirmation from Oliver. Would be nice if you're listening to the stream to maybe pick up the pace a little bit. With things starting
just because of, you know, possible spoiling.
There's enough of a delay with this kind of thing. It's not helpful information, let's be honest. But yeah, it is a work day tomorrow.
Ooh.
And we are off.
All right. So again, we got this garrison control. I'm very much leaning towards the Foxes because not only have they had this experience on this map yesterday, I think it's again that Slayer presence I think will come into effect. I mean, we just don't know if the Dragons have that experience on this map and game mode. I don't know.
Oliver has spawned in with a QBZ.
Well, he could be trying to
Apparently.
hold more of that AR aimed gameplay. I mean, trying to hold down the positions, take people from range. He's probably learning from the book from being stuck on the bomb and shooting at glass and not being able to respond.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a Krig, a QBZ, and a 47U out of the Dragons, and
probably same.
Foxes double Krig, no SMGs, double Krig and a QBZ out of the Foxes.
Control. Be interesting. I mean, again, I think the ARs are pretty viable weapons to be that up close gun. It just depends on how good you are with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit surprised about maybe having that kind of setup straight up on offense. If they were on defense, I'd maybe understand it a little bit more. But...
Yeah, again, that holding position. David picking up Nerys there, trying to get that overlook into green from tank. Also got two people pushing in.
Not just that, it's 2 kills as well, so it's Oliver on his own until his teammates can get back there to try and be reinforcements.
Yeah. Well, we seem to have got a little bit of progress there on A, but obviously someone being on Bravo. There, that's going to be knocking down that progress.
Hostile forces are capturing B.
B.
But that is keeping that person entertained the entire time. If they're sat there decapping a flag, they're not defending the other one or helping their teammates particularly. So
very true. I mean, they've abandoned A, which means there is that little bit of tick, which could be an effect, like a big advantage. Because again, having is good.
We are contesting Bravo.
Both of them have now wiped that down, and we're back to a clean slate.
Yeah, and it's also very important to remember that yesterday when we saw this map for the first time, the gators got destroyed in the first round, and look how that map ended up. You know, because you get wiped, wiped away on an offense does not mean that's necessarily going to be the way the rest of the map goes. This is an incredibly defensive-heavy map, and it is difficult to break it. He was putting the trigger pistol in there. He was hoping to see maybe a second come in.
Yeah, this is definitely not looking good. Especially, well, for the Foxes anyway, because They've got 5 seconds left and they have to capture 2 control points.
They're taking
Obviously, capturing one fox. Again,
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll get about a minute on the clock, give or take, if they can secure a zone. But this is do or die because if they get a clean team wipe, which is
yeah, and that's
basically
it.
what happened, there's no time to get back on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, not so good on the offensive there, but does that mean that they're going to be a lot better on the defense? We don't know. I mean, I'm more inclined to say no, to be honest with you. The way they were, the dragons were slaying, it just seems like it's going to be a very much dragon-heavy attack sort of game.
You'd like to think so, but again, we saw positions like we're seeing in this best play. We saw them come out of Oliver yesterday when it was Gators versus Foxes. We saw them come out of Ryan. I'm a little reserved on opinions until we see both of them get a crack at an offense.
No, it's very true.
Just because of the fact that, you know, it's so difficult to say.
No, very true. I mean, again, I think both teams have their slaying ability. I'm more inclined to say that if we had to choose top man over top man for both teams, I'd have to say more of a slayer. But again, it just depends on who shows up in the game. At the moment, I'd have to be more inclined to say David. He seems to be a lot more fired up at the moment.
Speaking of Oliver a second ago, he has back to the 47.
Yeah. I think they kind of realised that the 3 AR situation probably isn't the best.
Taking Bravo.
No, and you'd think maybe with the mobility that you said he's a good gun, but it's just not. It's not very easy to fly around with compared to 47. That's it at the end of the day. One's faster than the other.
No, very true. It seems obvious. It seems like A is getting captured. It's getting picked up. They got that tick though. They got a tick on B.
Because they got the tick, which puts them in a position where, you know, if we're going to compare like for like, first offensive round from the Foxes, they got nothing done. So even if they lose this round, okay, you know what, partially to be expected, but they got a tick on the offense. If this goes to round 5, it puts them in a really good position. They're one up
getting the 2 kills there, but getting picked off there is again quite crucial. So, I mean, we're coming down to the wire now.
Teammates weren't really quite ready to back that up. They weren't in a position to collapse on that final player. I believe it was in the recent nights.
Very much split teams here because we have people on B and A. So it's
that'll be it. That'll be B. We're going to be extending this one. I don't imagine anybody's going to even consider a contestant.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, A is being worked at the same time, and there's 2 people now on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very close. I mean, there you go. There's B gone. We got minutes 20, but I don't think it'll make it anywhere near that because, yeah, again, A just got captured.
And here's another point to make out. It means that there is a guarantee, realistically speaking, that if this goes all distance, Dragons will get defense. The reason I say that is because sure, there is a possibility that the Foxes could come out and do the exact same thing the Dragons just do. 1, don't see that happening. It's quite unlikely. 2, even if they do it, at best they can hope for a tie. In which case it will come down to kills.
Switching sides.
Yeah. I mean, again.
Good evening, Timmy.
It all depends. Yeah, hey Timmy. But no, it all depends exactly on how those Foxes are going to be. I mean, are those Foxes going to be demoralized by these 2 swift rounds, or are they just gonna bump up the level and start picking up the pace and becoming that killing threat that they were yesterday when they were playing up against the Gators?
The thing is, at this point, given that they are, you know, sad to say they threw away their first defense, they weren't able to take it. It puts them in a position where to even win this map, they're going to have to win 2 offenses. So not only are they going to have to replicate the performance we've seen in the first 2 rounds out of the Dragons, they're going to have to one-up it.
No,
that's a tall order. Really tall order.
It is a very tall order, but again, I feel like with a team like this, they're definitely capable. It's just
sure.
They're going to have to definitely get their comms on fleek
On fleek, you say?
Yeah, I couldn't think of any of
That is disgraceful commentary.
them.
Never say that again.
HVA
I'm
mission
not
focus
English.
drive.
So, yeah. No. But yeah, I mean... Yeah, it seems even. I mean, we're not getting much capture.
Yeah, I mean, 20 seconds of the clock. Not only have they not been getting much capture, but they've also not been contesting. And Dave pushing the spawns right now after basically all three of them go down. He's trying to put the last nail in the coffin here. If he can get a couple kills off the spawn, it's over. And even then, yeah, that's it. Team kill comes in, it's 2 delayed, it's over, 3-0.
Mop up the
We're going to map
survivors and come
4
home.
with a 2-1 favour for the
Listen up
Dragons.
now.
Now
I
you
couldn't
just
handle
can't help
less.
but feel like a loss like that is definitely going to hit hard. I can definitely see that the other, all the players in the Foxes, because that is quite demoralizing to lose that quickly. I mean, we'll just have to see how they bounce back, because we have Moscow Hardpoint now. Again, the Foxes did pretty well in the first Hardpoint, but again, that was on Checkmate, not Moscow. I shall see if I can get some confirmation from Dave. Again, I would just like to say that everyone that has showed up or watched the VOD, I'd like to say thank you. Just thank you for being here, showing your support, or even just watching for enjoyment. It's much appreciated. Sorry you have to deal with both me and Reuben being your commentators, but again, I'd like to say we're doing okay.
I am sick to death of hearing my own voice at this point, let alone other people listening to it.
Very true. David is ready.
Alright, we'll be off.
We off?
The world seems set up correctly. We do have a timer set up. Moscow Hard Point.
Okay.
Map 4. Survival in the finals on the line for the Foxes.
Yes. Again, and I'm again going back onto the whole thank you. I just want to say, obviously, thank you to everyone who has participated. Obviously, both Ryan and Hudson, who have popped into the chat previously, appreciate both of them showing up. You gotta again give respect to anyone, because anyone to be participating in this tournament is good enough, and everyone seemed to have been putting in the shift. So you got to give respect where respect's due. But again, we're in the final now, so it's all down to who is the better team. So far, I'd have to say that because it's 2-1 to the Dragons, you have to say the Dragons are the better team.
Yeah, it's hard to say anything particularly different at this point.
No.
I do believe Oliver is still struggling with connectivity issues, so there's, you know,
Capture the
not the
objective.
ideal conditions to potentially be playing in here.
Hardpoint located.
But we are underway going into this map. Just a quick call on the setup. 2 SMGs, Crap and an OO. I'm sure you can get what... Sorry, running. Typical setup as well, out of the Dragons. DRS on the SMG, Alien on the QBZ, and the Krig on the third. Other way around on the Krig and QBZ there because I'm an idiot, but you know what? It's
Hardpoint
late.
is secure.
That was a good good initial hold there from the Foxes. So I mean, it's good to see that they are still putting in the effort to get that hard point down. But obviously we are seeing that
We've pulled ahead.
the Dragons have now overtaken. So you can't help but feel like they got to get that hold up the Foxes to try and get in that little bit of an advantage.
Information there for Dave. I was gonna say, I was like, I'm pretty sure Oliver's also spotted him back. Actually, he's running through the spawn there, so it gets the kill, gets control of the spawns. Should give them a decent setup going into P2 to try and start actually getting a good amount of time involved.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we got a good push going through here. We've got one person up top and the back there, but they seem to be getting chased.
Yeah, and at this point, the spawns are going to go out pretty quickly. It's difficult really to control the spawns because even with that power position in hand, teammates die and the other team has swarmed the hill. You're not going to spawn there anymore, are you?
Yeah, Ollie doing good in the back, but obviously when you're killing the people in the back, it's not really killing the people on the hill. It's just, sadly, it's one of those things when you're constantly getting pursued and chased, you just get pinned into a situation where you just can't help.
Yeah, so now we'll be looking towards this long rotation, obviously towards P3. Dave already pushed up, knowing his teammate was securing some of the scrap as the new hill spawns. I think he's got a good idea that the close spawns are still in for the foxes, but he's not going to just say anything. Okay, I was going to say, yeah, Oliver's on another flank.
Yeah, Ollie getting that wipe there, or getting those 2 kills at least, quite big. Especially as you're probably getting a good 7-8 points from that. Really counts in the end. But again, no one's watching around, and they've just managed to push back in.
Yeah, and this will push the lead out another further 20 points. Fox is not really in a position to be able to contest this. They really need to be looking towards the next hill. So we'll be looking at what, around about a 40-50 point lead going into the next hill. Last one of the rotation,
Yeah,
mind you.
that's a difficult lead. That's a very, very difficult lead going into the next hill. And obviously, I mean, if they can hold on the new hill, the Foxes, that's definitely would get them back up to that even. But again, if it's the other way around, it's quite a long crawl for the Foxes to get back up to that point of at least beating or matching.
Indeed, it's the Foxes with the initial control, but it's relatively for the Dragons. This is something I was saying in the first hard point. The rotations, that it's just not working out for the Foxes, sadly. They're getting something else, and they're getting there before, and they're setting up and getting the first 10-20 seconds every time, and losing the further 40.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're doing the maths, doesn't exactly lead to a win if you're getting that 10.
I mean, well, with the first rotation over and you're looking at 150, not the position you particularly want to be in, especially given that the Foxes didn't really have the spawns for P2 towards the start of that hill. Hello, Mr. Train, good evening.
I knew it was gonna happen eventually.
You do be back.
The beep boop.
Speaking of train, Dragon's getting his train rolling through this map.
Yeah,
120 to 54, basically double the score of the Foxes.
Dave getting a nasty drop shot there on Ollie. Definitely.
Yeah,
Seems to
killing his
have named
teammate.
his teammate though, but
Not sure it's really going to matter, let's be honest. I think the only real... Nah. At this point, the spawns have come out, they've recognised it, they're contesting the scrap time on this hill. Nearly getting it, if we're going to be honest.
Nearly got the team wipe, but again, it's like you said, it's good enough to, you know.
If you've got a player that's
them to get
consistently
that
getting
40.
2 out of the 3 kills on the map, every
Again.
time you get into an engagement, there's just not much that's left to do, really.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems we're getting to the point where the Foxes are basically getting the last 10 seconds of the hill, which again, it just doesn't add up to that point. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see some bit more flanking, maybe a bit more coordinated pinching, just those sort of things. Just, I think, again, it's a very team-oriented game mode this, so you've very much got to have that communication.
Last stab attempt in the last 20 seconds before they consider the rotation. And I think, you know, with what we've been saying the whole time, it's at a point where I'm not sure the Dragons particularly care about the rotation. They're up nearly 100 points, they're getting the last 10-20 seconds on this hill, and they're probably feeling pretty confident about going for the break. They don't care about the spawn out for the Dragons, or not Dragons, for the Foxes. They don't care that they have the initial control, because they're just going to push it from the front and fight it from the front.
No, very true.
Hostiles have captured
But
the
again,
hardpoint.
you got to think that the Foxes need to be putting up more of a performance, especially as if, and I mean this, I mean if the Dragon wins this game, they do end up taking the series, which means it is full win for the Dragons. They definitely need to get this map. But again, it's just about 80 points behind. That's two hard points of like, and that's having strong control.
Hardpoint is secure.
And 3 dead.
Yeah.
And the problem with that 3 dead is given the positioning, you know, they might be spawning bank. There's a possibility the spawns could be a bit win through 3, and I think that might be what just happened there. But for the most part, you know, the Dragons have probably got a pretty good idea of where the enemy team are, how they're holding, and what they're going to be set up for going to the next hill. Because that 3 dead tells them everything they need to know. Given that they're all pushed up on the hill.
Yeah, we're gonna have David coming up behind someone here. This could be a free kill.
If you can make it out the window.
Did miss the jump out the window, which could be right there.
He's seen his nose. Just giving him away.
Oh, teammate nading Dave off the hill there. That
Avon getting his revenge from earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Was it intentional? Was it not? We will never know.
I would like to assume it wasn't intentional, but it is quite funny that it's the same player nading him back.
Yeah.
Old shots coming out there. Bit of an eager attempt with the SMG.
We're definitely having a bit more fight back these last couple of kills. But
Yeah, it's points not really so much on the board, but it has been more competitive at least. We're still looking at just under a 100-point lead in favour of the Dragons, which
they can
you know,
win off this hill quite comfortably if they can force position, and 2 men down already. That's not a great start.
so every wipe you're looking at another 10 points. So really, they've got to get in the contest now, or they've got to take control because they've probably got another 2 attempts at this before it's
20
over.
points.
Hardpoint contested.
Crap on great. Manchester sliding to cover but gets picked off by Sweaty Alien and leaving Oliver on his own. The spawn out has happened.
So we need 10,
Does make you think that potentially the other team are in the back, but there's just no one here to contest P1.
Yes, it seems that that's it. This is the
Mission
tournament.
complete. Clean up crews ensure
And
there are
we
no
have a
survivors.
winner. Dragons
Mission
winning
area is
this
secure.
birthday tournament.
Excellent work, everyone.
Gotta give them. You gotta give fair play there to the Dragons. They definitely dominated these maps.
And it is a shame really because after that first half point, obviously it looked like we are going to get a much more competitive series coming out here. But as it grew and it developed into the evening, it just wasn't quite maintaining the same kind of spiciness that I think we were expecting.
No,
Especially with the control going the way it did, it was disappointing. Maybe a little bit of a harsh way of describing it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, gotta give respect to the Foxes for making it there, because again, it was very, very big to get to this point. But it just seems like on the day that it was Dragons games to win, not exactly the Foxes. So again, GG's to the Dragons. Congratulations.
I'm not exactly sure what happens from here. Guess we kind of just
I mean, that's it.
wrap it up for the
tournament is
evening.
over.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna have to probably have a David come here and send off the tournament, knowing that it is his tournament.
Yeah, I
he's the
imagine we'll
winner.
probably get some final words from him in a second.
Again, very short end. I felt like we were waiting for games more than playing the game. So, again, we just gotta have that, probably those last words coming from Dave.
Indeed, I am here.
Hello. Hey, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
win.
Thank you.
Again, a very, very much deserved performance there, I'd have to say.
you. Yeah. I'm a bit worn out. I'm sweating like hell, to be honest. I was giving it all my in there.
No, I mean, fair. I mean, you definitely, again, I feel like you all put in the work.
Yeah.
Obviously, that first map, it was one of those things where the Foxes definitely had the upper hand.
Oh,
and
definitely. Yeah, we got fried.
yeah,
Ollie was frying us.
we definitely had, we had the whole consideration of, well, you've never lost a map, so we didn't know how you would respond to losing that map.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what exactly your team was feeling after that first loss?
After the first map, I felt like it was going to be a much closer series than it was the first time round. I mean, the first series, although it was a 3-0, wasn't exactly close, but it felt like there would be a potential upset on the cards following the first map, because I think all of us equally felt like we were being outslayed. And when it came to the second map, we just built some momentum out of nowhere. I'm not too sure where that came from, but we took that with us into the control, which I would say was fairly well played, and the hull point was, I'd say, decent. I think there was a few mistakes in the hard point we could have done better, but all in all, we were able to get some momentum from the first game into the second, and that helped a lot, to be honest.
No, I mean, it was definitely a good performance. I feel like from both teams. Obviously, sadly, with the Foxes, definitely not putting up the performance that they were doing the other day. But again, this first game here, obviously for the Foxes of the day, so they definitely didn't carry the momentum through. We see that in typical tournament fashion, that they obviously don't bring in the momentum from the previous days. So again, you got to give respect to both teams. They definitely put in their shift. So again, congratulations, and I think that's basically all we have to say.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a very interesting game if, say for example, we didn't run out of time yesterday and this was played on their hot streak. I think that would have been a very fascinating and fun to play series. But yeah, I think it was definitely my first game of the day, maybe second. Yeah, it was my second game of the day. I had one warm up. But yeah, I think if we were playing the Foxes after their hot streak, and for our first game of the day yesterday, I think it would have been a lot closer, and I think it would have gone to a second series. So yeah, GG's to them, GG's to everyone in the tournament. I've got to go and mix some cards now. But yeah. I'm looking forward to that, to be honest. But yeah,
Ryan MVP ?
Yeah,
he's definitely within a shout. He played phenomenal. We'll see with the cards.
I was saying to Tom, I think we need to see what the official stats come out as, but
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say anybody else.
Yeah,
As a first impression, he's definitely up there. Yeah.
I think the only difference, obviously, is for Ryan, he definitely doesn't have the winning stats, because I think obviously the Gators went 1-2. 1-2.
Yes, they went 1 and 2. Yes.
Yeah,
Won
they
their
went
opening
1-2.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
lost to Dragons, then lost to Foxes.
Yes.
But
So
in
obviously,
addition to that, as much as they didn't have the winning, as you say, they were close series. They really were.
they definitely put in the effort, and I think that's exactly it. And I mean, the fact that we saw Ryan putting up numbers like 69 eliminations to 29 deaths in one game, obviously, and he was also putting up 50 plus elimination games pretty much consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
he's
mean,
definitely
ignoring the overall stats of that, the sheer amount of engagements alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
even if it was a more of an even KD, a bit lower, a bit closer to a 1-on-1, still a lot of engagements to be having across a map.
Especially at
One
3v3
map.
too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was insane. He played his heart out.
Yeah, I mean, I've not got particularly much to add. I mean, obviously, as Tom said, GG's, congratulations on the tournament win.
Yep.
Yeah. That's that.
Indeed it is. Thank you everybody who has tuned in to watch these. these games. I might actually, because I didn't do the casting on some of these, I might go back and watch how some of them turned out. Because I don't know, I'm just interested like that.
Any of the ones where we're casting over you, it's going to be a bit boring for you to watch.
Yeah, I know, but like, it is what it is.
Boost the ego.
Boost the ego, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Don't need to boost his ego any further.
No.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Yeah, dial that down a little bit.
Yeah, alright. I'll take that into consideration, thank you. Alright, thank you all for watching. Thank you both for casting over the tournament as well. That's been a huge part of this year. That's been a step up in my quality that I've been looking for, so thank you both as well.
Wouldn't consider it quality, but
I would. I definitely would.
Happy to be here.
It definitely added to the entire experience and made it more, I'd say, professional in a way, and more consistent across the entire series. So yeah, thank you for being there, for casting, and
This is alright.
thank you to everyone watching as well. Short day 3, unfortunately, because I actually really would have loved to see a second game of 5, as scary as it may have been. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and I shall hopefully see you again for some streams in the future.
Alright. Peace.
Thank you all, and
See
goodbye.
you.